Okay, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Harukakwadash. Double honors to the Apostles' Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to all the fellow Akim who are listening to these videos. Alright, so this is going to be a quick video on the RFID chip, because I had read this article. I tried uploading it twice, but it kept bugging out, so I went ahead and waited till I got home and did it on my desktop. Alright, so this article was posted on April 8th, 2019. It says RFID, a precursor to the tribulation in the Bible. Alright, so it says Jordan Frith, Associate Professor of Technical Communications from University of North Texas, has investigated about radio frequency identification chips in his book. He related how these tiny items have been related to the doomsday that will happen in the future according to Revelation, the last book from the Bible. Alright, so RFIDs are invisible electronic devices that are used in tagging pets, electronic tolling, passports, and even hotel keys. According to Life Science, RFID technology is a method of wirelessly digitally identifying objects, like luggage, cars, or subway passes, that often does not require any internal power source. A small chip is inserted into or attached to an item to be identified, like a duffel bag or a toll pass transponder. This website is full of advertisements that always messes me up. Where was I? Alright, so continue on. It says, it does nothing until it passes near an RFID reader, which can be a few inches away for a passport or several feet away as in highway toll barriers. The reader emits a specific radio frequency that activates the chip, which then transmits its digital identification code. In 2018, an estimated 10 billion tags were used worldwide. The huge market of RFIDs can be seen in clothing stores that monitor theft and inventory. The reason why they put this in the article is because it's obvious that RFID is the future. It's not the end all be all, but it has its place in the future. Alright, so owners have their pets microchipped with RFID as well as humans chipped themselves in order to communicate digitally. The latter is what makes evangelical Christians angry. The reason why this article is being made. So I'll go ahead and top the website. So it's from the Science Times, and the Science Times is talking about a precursor to the tribulation of the Bible. The reason that they're saying this is because pretty much the cat is out of the bag. A lot of people know that the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast spoken of in Revelation 13:16. So pretty much what the elites are doing with this article specifically is they're trying to do damage control. They're trying to get as many people as they can to get chipped. Because ultimately the majority of the world is going to get chipped, but the 144,000 and the 1/3, who stood stiffly for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they're not going to get chipped. But as the so-called white man, the one who's in charge of the world right now, because the earth is given into the hand to the wicked. He's doing this damage control just to try to chip everybody as best as he can. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the precept in Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So it says, this biblical passage relates to the use of RFID chips with the mark of the beast. Evangelicals linked RFID to the mark. The author enumerated the relationship because of the two reasons. First, when biohackers chip themselves, they typically put the RFID chip into the palm of one hand because it's easy to wave that at sensors to open doors or process payments. And it's actually that's not entirely true, because the whole truth of it. So if you study the research and development, the R&D of the RFID chip, you would know that the reason why they designed it so it could fit in your hand or in your forehead is because that RFID chip, it's popular to contrary belief. It's not just going to have your Bitcoin wallet on it. It's going to have your credentials. It's going to have your biometrics. one human being's biometrics, it's a lot of information to download on a memory card. So that little chip is going to need active energy flowing through it. And the way it's going to do that, it's going to siphon the energy off of your bloodstream, because the bloodstream, it carries heat. And so they designed that microchip to be able to siphon the heat off of your hand, because like your hands and your forehead it's one of the main spots in your body that a lot of blood goes through, and so it's an easy spot for that chip to siphon energy. Yeah, but ultimately, if you take that chip in your buttocks, you take that chip in your arm or wherever, it does the same thing. It's just it doesn't siphon as much energy as it would on your hand. Also, John the Revelator, when he saw this revelation, he saw that the majority of the people who were getting the chip were getting it in their hand, as you can see today. Like all the people who are putting those chips in them, like a lot of people aren't putting it on their arm, because it seems awkward to open your car with your arm. It's more easier to do it with your hand. Alright, so continue on this paragraph. It says, and the scriptures specifically mention the mark on a person's hand. In addition, some people have injected RFID chips containing credit card payment information, which calls to mind to the payment methods mentioned in the Bible. With this perspective, even privacy advocates are against the use of RFID, as this violates the right to privacy. And so I went ahead also, I found this article today. It says cryptocurrencies are clearly shaking the system, IMF's Lagarde says. Because one thing I already said, that those chips are pretty much doing damage control, because it's part of the elite's plans to implement it so that people can utilize it. Because right now, what the elites are doing with the funny money, the FRNs that we're using right now, is that's pretty much order out of chaos. They designed that money to be a false balance, so that once because it's pretty much like a house of cards. And the Red Hebrew Edomite, he put this house of cards together, being our FRN monies, and then they're gonna bring out like a house of Legos, and to replace the house of cards. And the house of Legos is the RFID chip. Speaking in parable there. It's because it's order out of chaos. That's his way of rolling it out and making it more so that more people get the RFID chip. Alright, so I'm going to quickly read this article. It says, financial technologies such as digital currencies are shaking the banking system and must be monitored to maintain stability. According to the head of the International Monetary Fund, speaking to CNBC on Wednesday, IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde point to the changing business models of commercial banks as evidence that innovations like cryptocurrencies are having a clear impact on financial sectors. Incumbents. So I don't know that word. She says, I think the role of the disruptors, and anything that is using this distributed ledger technology, whether you call it crypto, assets, currencies, or whatever, that is clearly shaking the system. And it's because this cryptocurrency is designed to destroy the prior system, because that prior system was designed to fall to the cryptocurrencies. And so on this part of the paragraph, it pretty much just says that Facebook is getting ready to make their own cryptocurrency. Apple released its own credit card. JP Morgan is making their own JPM coin. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, the feature is RFID, because the elites said it that way. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and read these precepts. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Havashai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. As we know, the wicked has been revealed. It's the Red Hebrew Edomite. He's the one who established this so-called New World Order, and he's the one who's establishing the order out of chaos to do his fulfillment of prophecy, because he's trying to take over the world. But ultimately, before he fills his belly, it's gonna get cut off. And Yahweh Shai is going to come back. World War III is going to happen. The nukes are going to come, and the hopeful elect and the 1/3 are going to be saved out of those nukes. So continue on. It says, verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. It's because one thing is the Red Hebrew Edomite with this RFID chip, it's going to be able to track you. It's going to be able to open doors and hold your money. So that's a power and a lying wonder. Because the Red Hebrew Edomite, he's channeling pretty much science to the left-hand side to achieve this. So verse 10 says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, because that chip is pretty much him trying to be like the Most High. It says, in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to take that chip. So ultimately, the hopeful elect are not going to take that chip. Well, that's the destiny is that's what's going to happen. But pretty much, when we're out there speaking on the highways and hedges, and we're telling you don't take that chip, if you do or don't, it doesn't matter to us, because we do our job by telling you to don't take that chip. You do what you want with that information, because we're only out there fishing for the elect. All right, so this is, verse 11, and for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Because there's going to be a lot of gainsayers, and as we see, there's already a lot of gainsayers who are going up against the revelation of the RFID microchip being the mark of the beast. They're pretty much going to receive this knowledge, but then disregard it. They're going to forbear it, and they're going to probably take that. Well, they're definitely going to take that chip once Jacob's trouble kicks in, and it's going to be hard to feed yourself or your family. So verse 12 it says, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So real quick, I'm going to read this precept. It's Galatians 4:16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? We're out here on every Saturday on the highways and hedges, all over the world pretty much. We're telling you don't take the chip. And so people like, at the top of my head, Vocab Malone or Nate Sane or G-Man, we become their enemies because we're speaking prophecy. And the main prophecy that we're speaking is that RFID microchip. Because there's, with the whole BHI groups, there's some brothers out there who are outside of GMS who are teaching this. But pretty much anybody who hears that we speak about the RFID chip, we become enemy number one to them. And that's very evident with Vocab alone, because he doesn't really go after other, so-called BHI groups. His main target is Great Millstone. Alright, so hopefully this video is edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Haruk HaKodash. And, the Red Hebrew Edomite, he's doing damage control right now because the cat's out of the bag. Shalom Akim.